What we're looking at here is a substation design I'm working on, and I was asked to generate a staking plan. So as you can see, it's a pretty small site, not really much going on. There's an edge of pavement and there's fencing, but there's only really 3 major lines that I need to stake out. So typically the process I would take is I'd set up the point group, make sure I'm including with the wildcard staking so I can group all of my fencing and edge of pavement staking points into one complete group, and then I'd create the points along such that it populates along the vertices of my polylines, of my geometry. So coming back here, I'm going to set up a couple defaults to make sure that everything's being picked up automatically so I don't have to set these values as I'm creating the points. And really all I need to do is I need to select the lines and it will automatically throw a point at each vertice along these polylines. So that was the edge of pavement. And now we're going to do our fence staking. And select the fence line. And there you go. So now we've got all the points in plan. I'm going to update the staking point group. And there you go. Everything automatically updates. It includes all of the staking points. And now we're ready to go, set up our sheets, our tables, all that fun stuff. So that was about 1.5 minutes. With Dynamo, I'm going to see if I could automate some of this, make it a little faster. So let's undo this. Pull up Dynamo, click run, and there you go. So right off the bat, this very small site, I trimmed down 1.5 minutes process to literally 1 or 2 seconds. So now let's look into the script and see what's going on. Looking at the site, again, we've only got 3 lines that we're looking at for this particular site. But as you can imagine, the bigger the site, the more time you're going to save. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So looking at the script a little bit, we are pulling just the C site fence and C road asphalt layers, and we're grabbing all of the objects on those layers. We're going to take that object geometry and we're going to figure out what the beginning, the start, and end points of the geometry are. This is going to get our values, our X and Y values. And now we're going to sort those. So instead of placing the points along the polylines, it's actually going to place the points within a gridded layout. So I'm sorting it by the X and Y. So the smallest X and Y values will be applied. So it's going to go essentially from the bottom left to the top right of my grid. And here we're just combining the lists. As you can see right now, for this instance, we still have, we're not reading any vertical geometry. We'll get into that in a little bit. Just kind of showing you how this gets set up. We're going to sort it. And then let's connect the last one. Click run. Let's minimize it, and there you go. So points, staking, we've got everything included. And for this instance, this was the first run through. I just set one raw description as staking for all the points, even though it was grabbing the fence and the edge of pavement. So now let's show you the next step of that process. Here I've duplicated everything up until the point creation so that I could actually apply a different description for each of the points. So on the top I've got, what do I have? I've got site fence and I've got the road on the bottom, and as you can see I'm applying the different raw descriptions to each. and then I'm combining them and grouping them into one consolidated staking point group. And if we click run, minimize it, we've now got everything included. Still not reading the point elevations yet, but we'll get into that. But as you can see, that's another level or another step to this process, that we've now separated the objects but still group them into the same point group. Now we're going to get into the elevations. So as you can see, we've got the existing grade surface here. Don't have a proposed established yet. Ideally, that would be what you want to be targeting or reading that elevation. But again, we've got everything separated. And as you can see in the middle, we've got a select surface option that we're going to apply as our Z values. And all we need to do is click select. We'll select our surface. We'll run it. And now, as you can see, the point elevations have been applied. We now have Z values still being sorted, but still grouped, and we have Z values. So this is a much bigger site. This is what I was trying to get to earlier, is that we have a lot going on in this file. Without getting into the particulars of this project, you can see it's a huge site. We have it gridded out into 9 separate sheets at 30 scale. We've got a lot of parking, a lot of road. We've got different types of curb going on. Yeah, and fencing. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a staking plan for this. Now, typically, selecting all that line work, all that geometry, I mean, that would probably be about a half hour of creating all the points. And as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different layers that we're going to be grabbing the geometry from. We've got some null values which are being included in the list, and if these are still included, if you don't remove these null values after the object geometry, you'll get a bunch of errors afterwards and your script will not run properly. So I added this list clean to this, and this removes all of the null values. Thereafter, after the list clean, everything is essentially still the same. And we're just going to group everything into a staking, keep it all staking, raw description. And there you go. I clicked run, and now I've got over 500 points now, I think. Yeah, 582 points. And that was done within a second. All you got to do is click run, and it's all set up. Again, that process for this type of site probably would have been like a half hour of just creating the points or selecting the lines and sorting things out. But by doing that through Dynamo, I saved 30 minutes right there. So this is just another perfect example of how you can start leveraging Dynamo to automate a lot of these processes. And yeah, if you got questions, feel free to reach out. Love to hear from you. Thanks.